I was born ready, Tim. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, I've got it playing back somewhere in my computer. Oh crud!
I was not paying attention to what was going on. I was just making fun of the music.
Yeah, I was too busy rocking. Then all of a sudden I heard it again, and I'm like I got 10,000. Oh, where's that?
Yeah,
It ain't
I was looking at the POTA maps to figure out what I'm going to do for this weekend. So
it ain't a live stream if something doesn't go wrong, right?
I tell you what, absolutely. How is everybody doing tonight?
I'm
Tired.
tired. Yeah,
I am with you.
I'm
I'm
just
just
getting up and getting going for the day.
I'm ready to call it a night.
Frank, what time do you have to go into work?
In 4.5 hours.
Oh, okay. So this is like,
The morning.
yeah,
Yeah.
the morning.
I did that. I worked overnights and I freaking hated them.
Well, the
But
problem with this is that it's not even overnight. I go in at 9:30 and I'm not off till at least 11 tomorrow. And then I
that's
get
overnight. That's
th-
overnight.
then I get what, like 6 hours of sleep, and I'm back up and going again for the premieres tomorrow night, leading up to Coffee and Ham Radios, and then them, and then my live stream, and I got to drive home too. So there's that. But
Wow.
we're
Sounds like
not here for that.
sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. So
Yeah.
Well, Chris Brecker thinks that you work all the time, Frank, and I think I heard you say earlier that you might work 6.5 out of 7 days.
At least,
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that is crazy stuff.
and
Well, hey,
that's back to back.
yeah, back to back. So the reason we're here tonight, one of the things I wanted to do, obviously Winterfield Day is coming up, and we're trying to focus on portable operations, getting out there, doing your thing, and I think a lot of people, myself included, I know Alan, Punk Rock Ham Radio, and Carlos and I will be meeting up in Northern Indiana on Saturday to do this, and we're going to do it from a Poda Park. So we'll be doing Winter Field Day. And how do you utilize or maximize your logging capability? Now, some organizations, clubs will be clubbing. They generally will have something worked out. Ideally, some form of a network-based logging for the club, especially if they're running multiple transmitters. You can work, I guess, if I read the rules properly, you can work a station 3 times per band. So one voice contact, one digital contact, one CW contact. So if, for example, the three of us were all operating together under one club call sign, if you worked Frank on digital and Jeff on CW and me on voice, then you couldn't come back and work Frank later on voice or whatever. And that's kind of how it works. So in those bigger scenarios, those clubs will use programs that will track all that and at least cover it. But individually, what do you do? And so a couple of the big, I think the two big programs out there, a lot of people have used or have been using for the last couple of years is Hammers and Polo. And the nice thing about both of those applications is it does give you the ability to log multiple events. Both Hammers and Polo have we're going to call it a template built in to allow to basically have everything that you need to log the contact specific for that event, and then they will package it up in a file to then upload when you're done. Now there'll be some different things if you're sitting in one spot at a Poda Park and you're operating out of that same location the entire weekend or for 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, and you're not moving it, you can do it all out of one log. If you are, in my case, Northern Indiana on Saturday, I'm going to be coming back down Saturday night to Southern Indiana where I live, and I'm going to go back out to the park Sunday morning and do this again. So I'm going to have to run 2 logs. Now I'll combine my winter field day log because the way the winter field day rules state, as long as you stay the same designator. So in my case, it would be 1O, one for outdoors, or one transmitter outdoors, and then as long as you stay in your ARRL section, it's 1 log, one situation. But then I would have to do separate for separate for I'm sorry, Frank. Do you want to run it at 8? Oh,
It's a railroad term. I have chat over on the other window.
gotcha. 10-4. That's a CB term.
No, that's a
10-4,
cop
good
term.
buddy. 10-4, good buddy.
Who was there first, CBers or cops? Now, come on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And ignore the fry eating Frank tonight. I'm hungry.
No, it's fine. Hey, we're all here. So to get real started, real quickly, let's
Real started real quick.
yeah.
Instead of fake started real quick. Or
Right.
fake started fake quick.
Uh,
Oh, I slayed myself.
which is obviously I set all these things up. There we go. Today, but it was just one person, so it formatted the way I wanted to, and now a couple other guys in there, it shifted that around. So what we have here is Polo, and if you guys are familiar with it, and Frank, if you want to kind of, or Jeff, kind of keep an eye on the chat as I'm going through these things.
Yep.
Just in case we have some questions that we can address at
Okay.
the moment. Portable logger is kind of a neat thing. Now, I am running this on specifically my Mac, which you can do if it is one of the, what did we say it was? It has to be one of the iBooby, Apple Silicone.
The Apple Silicone iBooby processors, yes.
Yes.
Has to be one of the bigger processors
Yeah.
too.
But you can run, obviously, I'm thinking more portable as in tablet or your, phone or something like that. Android, iOS, both these apps will run on there. In here in Polo, they refer to these as activity. I think it's activities is it the right one? Yeah, activities. So they have ones that are on here, and all you have to do is to get access to them in your thing is turn them on. Parks in the Air, these are location-based ones. Also, there's just contests and things that they've got built in, and then also if it's not something that's on here, you can add that. But I'm going to go ahead and turn on Winter Field Day for this, and then go ahead and go back out. So when I go to set up a new operation, you would obviously set up your call sign. If you are working out of a club call, you could put that in here, and then as the station call sign, and then your operator call sign. You can set your location, and that's going to be the grid square. So I'll just going to use my local park here. So what I would do is basically select my local park, 4215. And actually, I'm going to do this a little differently. Come on now. Let me remove that. I'm going to add Winterfield Day first. I found that whichever one you put in first is what's going to get pushed out. So I'm going to operate in my scenario 1-0 or 1-0. I'm sorry, yeah, 1-0 for outdoor, and my ARRL section is Indiana.
I am surprised. One quick question. Did you update your copy of Polo today?
I did.
more
Yes.
recently? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I'm just looking at their um, the Discord server. And they yesterday they Sebastian put out the January 25 pre-zero update that has the Winterfield Day 2025 in there. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Um, I did that,
Yep.
and I alluded to it when we were off. But they also, in their notes, said that they're going to start. They're doing some testing for the being able to replicate your logs now between different instances of Polo. You run it on your phone, you run it on your computer. You can now share logs, and which is something that Jarrett had started doing with Hammers in the latest revision of Hammers, which guys, I am excited about that. That is cool because I do a lot of activations, and depending on where I'm at and what I'm doing, it's either on my computer or it's on a tablet or a phone. I like to have all my logs together in one location. That way I know that I've worked a station, maybe 10 or 15 or 20 times, where if I just use it on my phone and I do an activation maybe once every fifth or sixth activation on my phone, I may or may not have see that I've worked that person or that station that many times.
So I will make note of this. Your mileage may vary, and always stay up to date. The 2024 the December 2024 version, which is 12.1, it does have Winter Field Day booked in, because if I go into the data file, not data files, the app features, Winter Field Day is right there at the bottom. So
Yes, but it's always better to be updated with the
oh,
latest version.
absolutely. I'll always stay
Yes.
up to date.
Yes, and that's a good thing to remember before you go out. Make sure you update. Keeping in mind, if this is a park that you're or anywhere that you're at when you're remote, if you've got good internet access, that's great. But if you don't have it or it's spotty, it's always best to have all this downloaded and ready to go before you head out. So select my park, and now we are ready to go. I am now logging for both Winterfield Day and Parks on the Air. So you can, at that point, do your business. The thing as you type, Frank, what's your call sign? KG6.
November Lima Whiskey.
All right.
Here we go.
So you can just tab through 5.9s. You don't even have to set those. In keeping in mind, that's not necessarily part of the exchange. In this case, it's going to be your class. So Frank's running a 1.0
SF.
in San Francisco, and I'm hitting enter, and then we're just moving on to the next one. Jeff, what's your call sign on top of your head? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
K3 JRZ. Kilo 3 Juliet.
I knew it
Romeo
was something like
Zulu.
that. And you're running one indoor. What's your section?
Probably just be DE.
Tim, you got a
Delaware?
mistake there.
What?
JR Zulu, not JRG.
Well, that's okay. Justin Hill. I would have caught it. I would have caught it when I repeated.
John O. Rogers.
Right.
I would have caught it when I repeated his call sign back. But then as we go now, a couple things to remember: portable logging. This program Polo does not interface with your radio. So
No cat control.
yeah, no cat control, rig control, no reading of the frequency. So one of the things that you need to have, you don't need to have the frequency logged. You do need to have the band logged. You need to have the date and time, call signs, those kind of things have to match for them to correlate. The thing, I don't know, I'm sure there's a slight difference, but as you can see here, I'm running a clock off my computer. So double check to make sure your computer's time is set also before you go.
I will mention this. There are some OMs out there that if you upload it to LOTW or QRZ, they may or may not confirm if you don't have the frequency in there. I've run into that.
I don't believe Logbook of the World cares about the frequency. I think it just
It,
cares about
it
the band.
yeah, it just cares about the band, but some of those OMs get in there and go, "What was the frequency? I need the frequency." I'm
Well,
like, "It's in your log."
so here's the good news. This is the Ham Radio Kids table. We can
Right.
send those curmudgeons back to the adults table, and we don't have to deal with them. 'Cause
Exactly.
we're not asking for their permission. Um, so as we log those things, what it's doing now is it's creating. All these are going into the database. We can see, on here in our map where we're at, and the operations. The key to it is when you're done, assuming like not in my scenario where I'm going to two different parks, but if this is one operation, you're operating for 8 hours or whatever, and you are done and ready to go, you would just go to manage your logs, and you're going to have some options here to what you want to download, and you would just select them. Not that now. To the check boxes, whether you want that to do it or not. So you can have the Winterfield Day ADIF file. You can have the Winterfield Day Cabrillo file. Now, I heard the other day, I think it was maybe Jason's stream. The guys from Winterfield Day were on there, and I believe they said they will accept both formats. So those are both available for you. And then also the POTA ADIF file. If you were at another place, Worldwide Flora and Fauna or Soda or something like that, you would just add this in here to this, and this would also then create that additional file for you to be able to upload. You would just save that to computer and upload them as you normally would. So that is basically Polo in a nutshell. What I will say about Polo, and I'm going to say it about hammers, is that there's not this easy reference guide in the application for the location, right? For the ARRL or the RAC section abbreviation. So it is kind of important to listen and make sure you get it copied appropriately. And you could probably obviously go back and if you misabbreviate Western New York or one of the 27 ones that are in California or the 5 that are in Texas. Generally, most of the cases it's the state, with the exception of the Northeast, Florida, Texas, and California. Everybody's pretty much the whole state is one section.
Well, this date's from Field Day of 2020, but I will drop the AWRL and RAC section list in the chat there.
Awesome. There's where did I see it? It is on. Let me in the Winter Field Day website. I think if you go into the rules section and then operating aids, they have both the section list and the section map as files that I believe one's a PNG file and one, I think it's a Word document.
Oh, I had a PDF, so I dropped the PDF in there.
There you go. Yeah, but either way, they haven't changed. I don't think there's been a change to those since,
Nope.
20 years, 30 years, 40 years, as far back as I can remember. So
John has it right. So bright. Yeah, but John, you got to have the colors in order to see where everybody is.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, unless you're dealing, like I said, the majority of the states and the Canadian provinces, they're going to be whatever their definition is. It's not until you get to these whatever it is, 8 or 9 of
Larger,
California.
larger. I'd say like larger states like California, New York, New Jersey. Well, more populated, let's say.
Pop.
Florida.
Yeah, I don't think they exactly follow the same districting lines as the Congress does, but
No,
they're
I
they
definitely
are,
not.
I think, apportioned by population or maybe the number of licensed
Could
um,
be.
operators.
I can guarantee you the San Francisco section is so much bigger than the Sac Valley section, even though it looks very tiny there over in California. SF and SV.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the list that Frank put up in the chat, and you could tell that like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, Texas, Florida, Washington. Maybe it's the size of the state versus and population or population of amateur radio operators there. That's really splitting it apart because like Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Delaware, Maryland. I think Virginia was. Yeah, Virginia's on its own. Tennessee.
Mhm.
It it's something like that, but the larger state or the number of people, number of amateurs in there probably. But you'd have to ask the ARRL where they how they came up with those.
Yeah, well, I think maybe it is a little misleading. These are all bunched together, but I think yeah, New York has got multiple sections, but a lot of these are just states. I guess was it New Jersey?
New Jersey split, Pennsylvania split, Maryland. No, Maryland I don't think is split.
Maryland's part of DC, MDC.
Yeah, Florida
There's a
split,
Western Maryland and an Eastern Maryland.
Massachusetts.
Well, whatever. So they're all the same.
Yeah, and if you look at Texas, they're split apart. In California and Washington State, so it's not many states that are split apart, but there's a few.
Generally, I found that people are pretty good about letting you know.
Yeah, I think if
What?
they're doing field day, um, winter field day, that is, they know their sections that they're in.
Yeah.
You'd have to be pretty oblivious to start hunting stations on field day or winter field day and not know what's going on as an amateur.
Well, there are the new hams that haven't done a field day before that have no idea, and their clubs aren't great at teaching them.
That is
That
true.
is true.
That is true.
Yes, that is true. But hopefully, I have experience right now with the new ham. He's not part of a club, but he's on the radio a lot, so he knows that there's winter field days coming up. We've
Yeah.
talked about it. Other people and him being in the discussion. So I'm sure most, excluding like the brand new hams that literally just got their license in the past 30 days, everyone usually will know what their sections are and everything dealing with field day if they're going to participate in it. Now, if
So
they're a newer ham, they may not participate in just because it's a contest and they're all new to this and it might be a little bit intimidating to them. But
I think one thing that can be a little confusing, generally, like when you're doing a POTA activation or just hunting, you'll hear everybody say, you're 5'9" Minnesota, Mike November, or they'll say you're 5'9" Michigan, Mike India. Or and where I was thinking about this one was Ontario. I work a lot of stations up in Ontario, and I'll hear the 5'9" Oscar Tango. Right. Well, to me, I would think Ontario would be OT, and
It is.
the map it's OMN.
it's ON,
Yeah.
Ontario. Their postage.
Or I'm sorry,
Um,
ON. Yeah, whatever. Well, on here it says ONN.
Well, that's because that's the northern part of Ontario. If you look down at the
Oh my
the
gosh.
other one, they have an
They
ONS
have,
and an
yeah.
ONE.
Oh my
And
God.
the
Even the
GTA
Canadians are all messed up.
I want to go to GTA, Grand Theft
Right.
Auto. That's Grand Theft Auto land, people.
Right. So Tim, Chris had a question back at 509. What is a good way to have a portable server to collect QSOs from multiple people, say to set up a real-time leaderboard amongst friends and other field day groups?
Okay,
That
so
would be N3FJP.
well, N3FJP is a way to do that if you want to keep them locally. You're going to have some other type of computer, laptop. It, it's
Pi.
it's got to be a Windows machine because N3FJP only runs on Windows, and then you have to have
I don't
an
remember.
ability to link them together. You could probably do it ad hoc network in with wireless, but that can be a little bit of a headache. You could bring out a small Wi-Fi router and you could link them all together. That way would probably be an easy way to do it if you didn't have internet access.
Uh,
I'm
I think most established clubs have that set up already.
yes, I agree.
My former club that I was part of, they did have that set up. Um, and it's the first time I used and whatever that program's called, N3JPF, whatever. I don't have Windows, so I don't use it. Um, I'll give the fact that it's a nice program to run, to use for people that use Windows.
According to Dave, you can run it in Wine.
Well, you can run it in Wine, but you know what? Wine is a pain in the rear end.
Hey,
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm gonna drink wine while I'm running N3FJP. That is
And you could probably use, if you have like a MacBook or something like that, and you could always use like virtual machine, a VM or Parallels or whatever to do it. But that's
correct.
also, it's less of a pain than Wine, but it's still a pain in the rear end because you're basically running two computers using one computer hardware set of hardware. It's
Right.
be a pain.
And if you've listened to Mike Caden and his journey into understanding and learning VMware and some other things here recently, trying to get some Windows apps to run on Mac, it can be a challenge, and unless you're not, I'm not going to say intimately familiar, but if you've got a few moments to learn those things, then it could be a fun challenge. The other one that I was going to suggest, I haven't dove into it, but I know the Winterfield Day guys were they were slip of the tongue there, or was it a slip? No, it was faux pas. What's the word? I don't know.
Faux pas.
The faux pas. The they were talking about World Radio League and now how they have got it set up to where you can actually, at least what they're working on, is to be able to run like a club using that. Key to it is you're going to have internet access. You're going to have to be somewhere that is available. But yes. I mean, there are some options there. But to your point, Jeff, in a lot of cases, I think if you're going to be out operating with the club, they're going to probably have a lot of that
Yeah, this is like their
worked out already because they
their second big event.
He's not a new program. Although the guy, I will give him, he does a great job of keeping those applications up to date. So,
Yep.
Whatever you do, do not have the other Frank set up your laptop. Not this Frank, the other Frank.
I can't speak to that. I can't. I wasn't there. I don't know. Yeah. So that is Polo. The other one that I have jumped into. Now I used to run this religiously before Polo.
Ditto.
And Jared, life got in the way of this, and that's fine. This was a passion project, and not a side hustle or anything like that. He wasn't making any money off of it, and it became very intensive. He stepped away for a little bit. Now he's back. And from what I can tell, this is next iteration of it's pretty cool. He's introduced some things in here that Polo does not have, although they are, looks like it's on the roadmap to get integrated, and they've even got in the developers options some early stuff. Now I'm going to talk about this once again from the perspective of portable logging. They do have an option for rig control in here, and I think that uses what does that use? It's not
FL rig.
FL rig, yes.
Yeah.
So
And this is with the new version of Hammers Pro, I think it's called.
Hammers Pro, yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not available for Android or iOS yet. It's only computer based right now.
So
Right.
somebody mentioned on Mike's Mailbag Monday that they apparently have it running on their iPad, I guess. And Tim, bring up Chris Bricker's last comment right before, right after Nightbot there. Yeah. We should make this into a radio sport. This is not your grandpa's field day. I agree, Chris.
Hey, my friend, that is where we're at. We are not trying to. For so many years, people have done. John, that's a good question. I don't know if they have dark mode or not. I
Probably in
didn't
settings.
see it. My computer is set to dark mode, so if it was at least set to default, that oh, look,
Go on your config.
what kind of he knows that there's not a dark mode. God. Troublemaker. That's what John is. You're a troublemaker.
We're gonna put you in timeout, John, if you don't watch it.
Actually, no, we wouldn't do that. Nightbot might, but we wouldn't do that.
Never.
Just have to put in the right amount of emojis. That's all.
So yes, you're right. This is there are features in there. The Pro account. I think those features though are a subscription type thing. So you can still run the same application. You just don't have the ability to turn on. You have to put in an API key to be able to sync and do some other things. But generally, the newer version of what was available in the previous version, which still runs and is fully functional, and you can download it on your tablets. Though that isn't an extra fee. There is a $4, I think, 99-cent fee that is required from the Apple Play Store, or not the Apple Store, the Apple App Store. And that is essentially to cover the cost of it being in the Apple App Store and for the delivery. That is the only one I think that is.
And on Android too, the Google Play Store.
Can you not? I thought you could sideload.
I don't know,
or whatever.
but to have it in the store, he had to charge for it there too, because they take a percentage of your price too.
But that I know there was a while back when towards last year there was a lot of people that were upset because they paid $4.99 3 years ago and they were upset about it. Yeah, supported. But that different story. That was really for the delivery of the application and making it available.
Yeah.
For the different platforms. It wasn't going to support the operation or the development of the
Well, I'm sure that if Jared wanted to, he could have kept updating the older version with all the updates with the new parks and all that stuff. Maybe have like an automatic update.
Yeah.
Some kind of feature to pull the parks in like Polo has right now. And other things like that. But he wanted, I guess he had an idea of making it the next generation of the application. So yeah, and if you buy software or run software, it's going to happen. They say, developers all say that it's like whatever, $30, $40, $50 for whatever their application on your computer. And it's good for like basically the the lifespan of that version, of that main version.
Yep. Yeah.
And once they jump to go from 1 to 2, it could be like a discounted could be, depending on the developer, a discounted charge of like 50% off or something like that to update. But it happens, and if you're so butthurt about $5 Jesus, just shut up and use a freaking laptop or something, for
Pen and
crying
paper.
out loud, or freaking
Pen and
something.
paper. Yeah.
Or pen and
So-
paper, yeah, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
They have to make money somehow.
Those were the sad hams at the adults table, Jeff. That's why they were so upset.
Could be. They could be anywhere, really.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So whether it's the newer version or the older version, this process isn't really any different. You put in your new logbook, you can put in your event. You know what? That's too many letters.
Well, while you're doing that, Nightbot got John.
Yep.
Huh.
Only for 5 seconds.
There you go. So unlike Polo, you can't stack multiple activities or operations into the log. But what you can do is select a template. Now, in the newer version, they do have a ability to make custom templates, which I do like. I see that as and I love this. It's going to be the competition now, is what I see between Polo and Hammers. You've got a whole younger group of people, very computer literate people, and now Hammers is going to make something, come out with something, and Polo is going to scramble to get it integrated. The guys at Polo are going to come out with something, and Hammers is going to scramble to get it integrated. At the end of the day, I think it's great for all of us, and I do recommend that you support both platforms because I think this is going to be good for everybody. So they do have the templates in here. In this case, you would select the winter field day, create your logbook. You can set your band. Remember, frequency specifically isn't necessary. You set your mode.
So apparently Mike can be in the chat while he's taking care of the kiddos, but not on the live stream.
Yeah.
That's why they invent duct tape and dog crates to put kids in.
Right?
And if I'm not mistaken, his kids are quite a bit older than mine. Like they're getting ready to drive, and I think are they not both licensed themselves?
I think
They're
at least one.
Yeah.
Amateur radio license, yes, one is.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other one, but they still make large dog crates that you could fit those kids into to keep them
Oh,
locked up.
absolutely.
There you go. So the
Don
big
says
thing.
yes, 2,200 meters.
Yep, 2,200 meters is going to be. Don will be the only person in America operating on 2,200 meters this weekend.
And how many watts of power will he be pushing out?
I think your
probably an
capture
Italian
box-
kilowatt.
10. I think 2,200 meters and 600 and some meters have a cap.
Oh, they
It's
do.
it's not very high. It's very
Very low
number of whiskeys.
It's 1 watt for 2,200 meters and 5 watts for 630.
There we go. Somebody's been studying for their exam.
Yep.
Need to set your mode. Power is more for you. It is not a requirement for logging.
For anywhere.
Exactly, but it's a good reference for you if you need to go back.
Yep.
Once again, like in Polo, if you're operating under a club call, you can put the club call in here and also your call. This is where you would put your grid square and such. Now, where did I? If I remember right, when I was tabbing through here, so Frank, what was your call sign again? KG6?
November Lima Whiskey.
November Lima Whiskey. So you were 1-0. Your
SF.
section is SF. Now my class, I'm going to be 1-0, and my section would be IN. And you hit save, and that's all you need to do. It's going to pre-populate the 5.9s because everybody knows in a contest everybody is 5.9, and if you're saying anything other than 5.9, you're wasting time.
Well,
Um,
I have a hot take for another time on that one.
but what it will do
Ditto.
is it will keep your class and your section in there. It'll keep that sticky in there. So it will change if you change it, but it will go. Uh, Jeff, do you remember what your call sign was again?
I think I do. Kilo 3, Juliet Romeo Zulu.
All right. And you're going to be running one indoors, and you are in where? Northern Ontario.
Delta Echo.
Oh.
No, give them GTA. That works. Oh, no. KAMRD, One Ocean, GTA. There you go. There's your next entry, Tim.
All right.
He went to Toronto for some fun in the
Right?
snow.
Where is he? Western Texas? What? Oh, no, GTA, you said?
Yeah, GTA.
All right. By the way, typing on stream is not my superpower. I'm just gonna throw that out there. All right. So we're, obviously building the log now at this point, and they are in there. Obviously, we don't have this.
You don't have your mapping set up.
I don't have the mapping set up, but this is new. This is an indicator of whether you know or you're online. Some of these features may or may not work when you're offline, so keep that in mind with any of the applications that are online. Um,
So Mike has a good question here. Well,
Yeah.
comment sort of. What I like about hammers is the ability to duplicate a log for someone else. Like if I'm activating with my son, I can easily do one log for the both of us.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's a new feature in hammers.
That's a good. That's a nice thing that Hammers has always had. You can always because you can never log a twofer with one log. It always create two logs for you, and you just did that by duplicating the log, and then changing the park designator that you're in that you logged. Um, I like to see if Jarrett will add that kind of functionality to future updates. Um, I probably will not play with the Mac version of the app. I'll probably wait for it to come out on iOS,
mhm.
the Pro version, the new version. But right now, I got hooked on the Polo. So, um, but one thing I do see here that that'd be a problem if you're doing a PODA activation at the same time, like you were doing with the Polo example. You don't have those fields to input that information unless you put it in the notes or the comments.
Well,
And that's another thing I noticed they have both fields there, notes and comments, where most applications have one or the other.
you're talking about in here. So yeah, notes and
Yep.
comments. True.
But
Um,
then you'd have to pull them out to put into your duplicated log or something like that.
so you can obviously go in and edit, and that's probably a little
Yeah.
much to do when you're on the fly.
Yeah.
But if you go back to here and kind of alluding to what Mike alluded to, if you go in and you duplicate that log, and let's just say PODA, right? So we know it's different.
Well, it's not asking you to do
Hang
the
tight,
template.
hang tight,
Okay.
hang tight. You can go in and you can edit, and you can change your template. And
But
it's
you still need, well, yeah, that you could use for then PODA. But if you were activating in a park and you were telling people that,
yep.
or people told you that they were in a park too, you don't have anywhere to log it.
So
Um,
here's my suggestion. The only thing that you need to log for PODA is a band and a time and a call sign.
Yep, that's correct.
You don't need
Although,
to get there from. I know a lot of people love to do the park to parks and everything like that, but as long as you, park operator A, and the other station, park operator B, both upload your logs to the POTA website as you should
yep,
be doing, the system will say, "Oh, hey, you guys worked park to park," and make that connection for you.
yes, but
I,
there
I
are anal retentive people that do like to log those things for
And I'm going to say
themselves.
this: this is the kids' table. If you want to be in a curmudgeon, you can go back to the adults' table.
I'm not being a curmudgeon. I'm just saying that there are people that do like to have that
I get that.
information.
I will say so Tim, I will say this, and I know we have 12 minutes left.
Mhm.
Uh there are some people that, even though they don't want the park numbers, they still don't log them right. So yes, well, I agree with you, but then they have the issue of they don't match up on the POTA system, and then the POTA system doesn't catch it, and then you got to open a ticket and talk to email the
I'm
other
not following
operator.
because
And
if you just upload to POTA that Tim and Frank had a QSO at 1300 GMT on 20 meters, you and I both put that in our logs. That's
yeah,
all it needs. That's it.
it doesn't
That's all
always
it
seem to
needs.
catch it
No,
though.
no, no, no. You're getting too deep into it, Frank. That's
Too
all it
deep.
needs. It needs two parties to say that we spoke to each other, and I'm submitting a POTA log, and you're submitting a POTA log because we're both activators. Remember, hunters don't upload anything into the POTA system.
Right.
So as long as you and I submit logs that say we had a QSO at 1 p.m. GMT Zulu, everybody is still happy camper. Uh,
No, Nate, they better not. If they do, we have problems.
so yeah, I don't. I believe the old system, the previous version in the last update that he did go in and fix all the parks.
Yes, but they didn't
Yeah.
update them with new ones.
Now what? Yeah. So I don't know if it's anymore. He see it did do a lookup, right? So 4215 has been around. Oops.
Doesn't look like it's looking it up.
It does not. So US 4215.
See, it picked that up where
So
it's
it
Yeah.
did pick
located.
that one up. So it didn't pick up the K park. Now, let me change my park. Is it going to let me change my park? And US 1254. Okay, yeah, that's a newer park number. That
Well, the
that
last
park,
1.0 up.
that park number was active. I don't know, but this is online, so it is pulling that information. So
The last 1.0 update had parks up to 10,500. So it better pull that.
okay, well, what's a newer?
They're up in the 12,000s now.
Okay, so 12,354.
Nope.
I don't know if that's a valid number.
Uh,
10,999. Well, there you go. 10,999. That's coming back as Utah. So there is, but keep in mind your mileage may vary if you don't have internet access.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Oh man, John, dude. There's sad hams and then there's bitter hams. And I think John is a bitter ham tonight. Look at him. He's flipping off
Hmm.
Nightbot and everything.
Well, okay, so he just got out of Nightbot timeout for 5 minutes.
He was in 5 minute Nightbot time?
Yeah, 600 seconds.
Oh wow. Yeah, golly.
Right after coming out of the 5 second timeout too.
Yeah, look at Nate. Yeah, so now Nate's out. He's Nate's
Yeah.
throwing it in the chat too, talking about K. Yeah, I know. I just threw the K out there because I knew the Ks were old. I personally would wish we still did Ks and whatever the VE.
It took some time to get used to it, but they're following the standard, which makes more sense.
Well,
Again, this goes back
the standard it was though.
to why would they not have done that to begin with? I'm sure there was probably some reasoning, but if you do things right the first time, it's a lot easier in the long run. You don't have to change stuff in the middle of everyone learned your program and learned all the codes and whatever. Then you go about changing them in the middle of things. It's just chaos. And I don't mind the U.S. I don't say kilo anymore. If I'm in a different state, I still might say Delaware. But yeah, I'm all about the U.S. now. The U.S. instead of saying kilo, whatever the number.
Mike's
just
right.
a lot
The K
easier.
isn't old; it's just silent now.
There you go. It's a silent K. So it's SK. It truly is an SK. So
There
All
you
right.
go.
Well, hey guys, I think that's about as much disruption to the universe as we can put out to the matrix there. I'm sure everybody's probably like scratching their head going, what in the hell? But hey, you know what? We're having fun and that's all that really matters. Let's see, Frank, do you have a premiere tomorrow night? You don't have a premiere.
I'm out this week.
You're
I
out
have
this week?
nothing this week.
And Jeff, you've got one tomorrow night. Is that correct?
Yep, 7:29 Eastern Standard Time. The night starts off at 1904 Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time, which is 0004 UTC, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Alan's first up, then Mike, then you, then Freddie Mac, leading up to Coffee and Ham Radios.
Yep. So make sure you guys look for the playlist on your favorite social media outlet and get in there and make sure you check out those videos because those guys are always doing some fun and exciting things. And then I see, time and weather tweaks by Freddie Mac's video this week. So if you guys are doing stuff with All-Star, he's a good one to follow for that. Also, Coffee and Ham Radios. Do we know what the topic is for tomorrow night on Coffee and Ham Radios?
I can find out in 30 seconds while we talk real quick about the show coming up right after us here.
Yes. And Ham Nation is kicking off.
Which is your grandpa's radio. Joking.
But that's okay. They're cool people. I'll tell you what. I'll take a. God, now I'm having an old man moment.
Coffee and Ham Radio does not have their.
I'll take Gordo any day at the kids' table. Gordo always has a seat at the kids' table.
Oh, absolutely. Nate says, I need a ham radio YouTube guide. Yes, absolutely. And no, Car does not have their live stream posted yet.
No, there you go. Okay. Well, you guys go over and you make sure you rattle Jim's cage, Big Jim. Ask him why he doesn't have his live stream posted yet.
But so before you do that, I'll hop over to Josh's stream and say hello to Gordo. And I do believe tonight they have the Hamcation crew on.
Well, there you go. And when you get there, make sure you let them know that the Ham Radio Kids Table sent you. So.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. With that, we're gonna go ahead and get out here and let everybody get something to drink and some popcorn for the next show. But appreciate you stopping by, and Jeff and Frank, thank you for jumping into the kids table tonight.
Always.
All right. 73.